This is an NBC News special report. Here's Lester Holt.
Good day, everyone. We're coming on the air to bring you live coverage of President Trump's visit to Pittsburgh, where he is paying his respects at the Tree of Life Synagogue, scene of Saturday's horrible massacre. 11 people killed during Saturday religious services. The president and First Lady Melania, along with Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner, spending about 15 minutes inside the synagogue, in an area away, we're told, from a crime scene. They're now walking out to the front of the church, where you have likely seen in coverage the last few days. There are stars of David representing the 11 victims with their names. You can see flowers have been left there. And we're told the president and First Lady, in Jewish tradition, will be placing stones at every name, and flowers as well, and be led in a prayer by the rabbi. Our Peter Alexander is standing by outside. Peter.
Lester, as we look at this live picture right now, the President and First Lady, we are told, will be laying stones from the White House, as well as white roses at each of those 11 stars of David that honor the lives of the 11 congregants, the victims who died on Saturday here. Victims of an awful massacre, the worst in the Jewish community in the United States history so far. Let's take a listen and a look.
It doesn't appear we can hear, and please let me apologize. I think I said church a moment ago, obviously synagogue. There, Ivanka Trump with flowers in her hand. There's the president now placing the stones. There was some opposition of the president making this particular visit, but the rabbi, Jeffrey Myers, says the president of the United States is always welcome in this synagogue. It, of course, a scene of that horrible shooting on Saturday during those services. Many of the victims were elderly.
Lester, sorry to interrupt you. As you can see in that live picture, that is the First Lady and the President, joined by the rabbi of this congregation, Rabbi Jeffrey Myers. This has been a somber day for this community, laying to rest 3 members of this congregation and a neighboring congregation. They had to borrow another synagogue's sanctuary for the ceremonies, the funeral services that took place today, given the fact that this sanctuary remains a crime scene. The president was greeted upon his arrival here by the Israeli ambassador to the United States, Ron Dermer. Also, as you have seen, his daughter, Ivanka Trump, who converted to Judaism, alongside her husband, Jared Kushner, wearing a Jewish prayer cap called a yarmulke. They are expected to have a short visit here in Pittsburgh today. You spoke about the controversy. I spoke earlier with one family whose loved one was killed, a victim of this awful murderous spree. Daniel Stein was 71 when he lost his life. His nephew telling me that he was outraged by the president's comments. President Trump suggesting that, in fact, had there been an armed guard, this massacre perhaps would not have taken place. We heard from the nephew of Daniel Stein saying that that, in effect, was a stab in the back of the community here. But other congregants are welcoming the president's visit. They describe it as a strong show of leadership. Lester?
Yeah, the president and the first family spent about 15 minutes inside the synagogue itself, and we're told the president inside lit a yahrzeit, a candle in a memorial of the dead. There are at least 4 people, we believe 4 people still hospitalized, who were among the 6 injured. If you'll recall, there were 4 police officers who were wounded in this attack, along with 2 civilians. And the last we had heard, there were still 4, 2 of the officers and the civilians still being treated for their wounds.
Yeah, and Lester, the White House won't confirm what the president's plans are during the remainder of his visit here, but as he has done under past circumstances after shooting sprees of this kind, he often does go to the area hospitals to visit with those first responders. So it's very likely that he would do that again today before departing back for Washington. As we look at these pictures here, there was a long lineup of people greeting the president. Only blocks away, loud protests as well. People frustrated by his visit, by his language. There's a sign the one woman is holding up, a neighbor, that says all are welcome, calling on the president to denounce white nationalism. As you see the beast pulling out of the way, you see the president standing beside the Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, who also so happens to be a Jewish American, and Ivanka Trump and her husband just a short distance away.
This is the role of consoler-in-chief that we have seen every president play in times of national tragedy. And this president certainly has been under another kind of microscope, as Peter pointed out, with that demonstration, that rally taking place down the street, but nonetheless, never an easy role. This is a city that has found its strength in its unity and its solidarity in the wake of this tragedy. I was there a few days ago speaking to some of the first responders, along with the police chief, the public safety director, all noting how the city came together not only in its moral support for each other, but literally pulling together as those shots were ringing out. The stories of bravery have been just remarkable. First responders, not only police, but physicians and paramedics, even as the gunfire was still ringing out, treating the wounded and rescuing the wounded in some cases from the line of bullets. This part of the synagogue that the president and first family are visiting was not, we believe, affected. I had been a little bit down that block where you could, however, see windows blown out and piles of glass where the shots were fired. Some of the shots actually not only fired inside the synagogue, but also at the responding police officers. And so that area is still very much a crime scene, but we're told the portion that the president saw a while ago was not directly affected. The FBI is the lead agency in this investigation. As you know, there are now 29 federal charges pending against Robert Bauer, the suspect who reportedly during and after the attack said that his mission was to kill Jews. That's the quote that law enforcement officials have offered. So, Peter, to be clear, the president, after this visit, we might expect him to make another stop?
We don't know what he's going to do next. It would seem likely that he would stop by the medical center only a short distance away, where some of those first responders who were wounded, who were shot, are being treated right now. We just saw the First Lady, Melania Trump, getting back into the presidential limousine, the Beast as it's called. The president is still there visiting with Rabbi Myers, the congregation's rabbi, who says he's received a lot of criticism for his comments, in fact, welcoming President Trump here. Many people say this was an attack that wasn't just anti-Semitic, but also anti-immigrant. The gunman, alleged gunman, had ranted on social media about his desire to target immigrants as well. And it comes on a day that the president has made an announcement that he wants to sign an executive order that would deny birthright citizenship, that would deny citizenship to those babies born to non-citizens on U.S. soil.
Well, we will continue to follow the president's activities there in Pittsburgh after this very emotional stop at the Tree of Life Synagogue. As you can see, the family is now back in the limousine inside the Beast, and where they go, we will continue to watch and monitor, and we'll have full coverage when we see you tonight on NBC Nightly News. For now, I'm Lester Holt in New York. Good day, everyone.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.